What's going on, Show Nation? It's Movie with Movie Gaming TV. It's been a little while since I have uploaded, so I wanted to get an upload up today, and I'm going to take you on a bit of a nostalgia trip. We're going to take a look back at some of my old team builds throughout MLB The Show. We're going to take a look back at MLB The Show 18, 19, MLB The Show 20, MLB The Show 21, and kind of see where my team ended up at the end of the year. Now, I got this idea because extreme moments are coming to MLB The Show 22, and I had to go grab some screenshots for a Twitter post. And it kind of got me thinking, like, I want to go see how some of these teams ended up back in the day. Now, I quickly realized when I was recording this video that for whatever reason, I can talk about MLB The Show 18 for like an hour or two, giving you tons and tons of details on how the game played and just kind of like what the community was feeling at that point in time. But I think for this video, I'm going to shorten it up. We're going to take a look at the teams quickly. But I wanted to make this video because there really is not going to be a way for me to have like a historical record of what my team was like back then, because in MLB The Show 15, 16, MLB The Show 17, the Diamond Dynasty servers aren't up anymore. So there's no way to like look back and see what my team was like. So I wanted to make this video so maybe 4 or 5 years from now, I can look back and be like, oh my God, I forgot I had this card or that card or what have you. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hop on MLB The Show 18 and take a look at my team. It's kind of crazy to see Aaron Judge on the cover of this game with how great of a season he's had this year. All right, so this was MLB The Show 18. Now, this game is known for the Immortals, and this game is known for a very mindless, badly set up stat grind. There are some people that do want something like this to come back, but I'd say overall, if you were to do a poll on it, most people did not like this. I personally did not like this very much. You basically had the programs set up like this. It's the first year of programs where cards would have kind of what they have now in the other programs, but a lot of the cards went into other cards, and once you unlocked, for example, I don't know, Raleigh Fingers, if you did a bunch of stats, and it was a bunch, we're talking like 150 saves with Raleigh Fingers and 400 strikeouts, just ridiculously high stat grinds. And that his Raleigh Fingers souvenir, for lack of a better term, would go into something like Billy Wagner or Rich Gossage. So Rob Nen was for Billy Wagner and Rich Gossage was Raleigh Fingers. You would exchange his souvenir to start working on this card, which apparently I was very close to at the time. But what this involved was a lot of games versus the computer on Rookie, and you just kind of mindlessly mashing the ball or mindlessly getting the stats. It just wasn't very fulfilling overall. And the other big thing that really set this game back that they went away from, and thank God that they did, because this was the ultimate stub sink. A decision that was so bad, and I'm so glad they went away from it. And what that was this. If you go into your inventory and then you go over to my souvenirs, that's what these were. So you had a bunch of signed autographed baseballs. You had some stuff for the programs. You had a bunch of these bobbleheads. You had like a bunch of hats and jerseys and just a whole bunch of stuff that you had to exchange. So let's say I wanted to get that Raleigh Fingers. I would have to exchange like 10 of these Brewer hats to get them. And it was just a pure stub sink. There was nothing to do with these jerseys really at all. You couldn't equip them like you could now. And the fact that they've moved all these things to being just cosmetic, getting rid of the baseballs, getting rid of the hats, just having the jerseys you can actually use was a big time decision to go away from this, because this was not a lot of fun. Anybody that played this game did not like souvenirs. It was awful. It was awful. Now, sometimes I'm very critical of MLB The Show. I really will say, hey, you did a good job here, or this needs some work. That's kind of how I like to approach it. And a lot of the cards that we get that are lower tier, sometimes I will joke and I will call them souvenirs because they feel like that I'm not really going to use them. You know, a lot of the cards are just going to be kind of a card that you might use like in an all-time team build, but sometimes some of the cards that they release that gather dust in the binder, they kind of feel like the souvenirs, but the souvenirs were just really, really bad. Another thing looking back at this game is there was not a lot of modes to play in this game. There's a kind of a preview of what my team looks like, but this is all the conquest we had. It was the USA map. That was it. There's no showdown. There's no moments. That's pretty much it. You had conquest, you had play versus CPU, you had extra innings. There's no mini seasons. You had Battle Royale, you had ranked seasons, and you had events. And events, they really weren't like they are today. I think events in MLB The Show 22 has probably been the most fun way to play just because there isn't really like skill-based matchmaking. There's interesting lineups that you have to use for the most part. And I also kind of think like having an event constantly has been pretty nice. Events back in the day, like it might be 3 weeks between events where there's just no event available whatsoever. So it wasn't as good back then. The one mode that they need to add to MLB The Show 23, in my opinion, is a mode like Battle Royale, but you know, you can still go 12-0, but you can just use your Diamond Dynasty team so you can play those quick 3-inning games. So you have ranked seasons, Battle Royale, keep events the way it is, and then you could have one more mode where you just play, you just basically play just like you would play in Battle Royale. You can use your team at all times. You have rewards to go after, the whole reward path thing. That's the one thing that I feel like they need to add. But yeah, that was it. I feel like when we look at my team, it's almost easier to do it in a play versus CPU game because the one thing that's weird about this game is when you go to look at attributes for a card, it takes like, I'm not even joking, it takes like 1:30 seconds for it to load up. Like now it's instantaneous. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if it's because the game's really old, but it's just going to take forever to do it that way. So I feel like just briefly, we'll go and look at my team. And the one thing before we do that, actually, if we look at my creative player, I wanted to look at like his swing. So I had Joey Gallo apparently. Now, Josh Bell's swing in the game in MLB The Show 22 is kind of similar to this swing. Joey Gallo's swing is different nowadays. But one thing you have to know about MLB The Show 18 was power was so overpowered. It was extremely OP. You could have a card that was a gold that had a ton of power play just as well as an immortal. That was kind of how this game went. There was a lot of home runs and there was a lot of outs. That's really what I remember about MLB The Show. And you really wanted to pitch low. That was like the meta. But Joey Gallo really kind of rose to fame as a meme in this game because he had a ton of power and it didn't matter about his contact at all. So that's kind of like why I had Joey Gallo, and he had a really good swing in this game. All right, so here was my rotation, and then we'll go look at the stats. I had Nolan Ryan, Tom Seaver, Bob Gibson, a Future Stars Shohei Ohtani, which I just don't remember at all. I do not remember this card very well. So this one really got me kind of awestruck. Look at this small amount of pitchers that I had too. You go from 99 to like 93, 92. This game, I played a lot. I got extremely burnt out in like August. I was just like, I've had enough of this. I don't want to play this anymore. And then what happened is I came back around January or February after grinding all this time for the Immortals and actually started using them. I don't have all the Immortals. There are definitely some of them that I missed because I missed some of the events. But this is what my team looked like back then. And we can take a look at some of the ones that I missed. So at second base, we had Patrick Mahomes. This is actually the year when he was still a backup quarterback for the Chiefs. But I was kind of like all in at that point in time on his card. Looks like the highest one that I have is a 94 overall. Jackie Robinson. In left, we had Babe Ruth. His attributes were absolutely insane. First base, we had Immortal Albert Pujols. I'm wondering if we're going to see something like this. Kind of a send-off for Albert Pujols in MLB The Show 22. He did get the home run derby card. In center field, we had Griffey. He was really awesome. Just like that card art was really, really awesome. This was the collection reward in right field. Vladimir Guerrero. At third base, we had Chipper Jones. At shortstop, apparently I was sitting Cal Ripken Jr. for a much lesser Troy Tulowitzki. Troy Tulowitzki is just one of my favorite cards. Look at Gleyber Torres, his Future Stars card, by the way. That's cool. And at catcher, I had Mike Piazza. I do like this Yogi Berra card, though. I liked using this card even though he didn't have a lot of power. Bullpen, I had an 87 Andrew Miller, an 86 Jake McGee. We had Blake Trinan. And my bullpen is bad without Wagner, without some of those cards. Like, it's just bad. Trevor Hoffman, Kenley Jansen live series. Gosh, my team was not that good in this year. One thing that's pretty crazy is the community market, too. There is absolutely no 99s. You have Diaz, DeGrom, Yelich, Mookie Betts, Max Scherzer with long hair, but there's no 99s. And look who makes the front freaking page. This is kind of my go-to for a very bland card, is always Alan Trammell. 94 Alan Trammell makes the front page. It's also pretty cool that we saw like Joe Mauer come back this year. I think this screen, when you go to play the computer, it looks like a lot cleaner. So this is one of the things too. You used to have this like rotation, this pitching rotation thing here, where it just kind of like goes and picks a random one for you. Also, you notice in there, we had Phil Niekro, who has a knuckleball, which is not a thing anymore. I'm glad they kind of took that out. Yes, Nicky Janice has one, but they don't bring back knuckleball legends anymore. Like, they haven't brought back like R.A. Dickey or anything like that. So at the top of the screen, you see 95, 89, 107, 101 would not be good anymore. 125, 125, 125, 125 for Babe. Unbelievable. 109, 125, 113, 120. We would take this card back for an Albert Pujols. Griffey was 103, 113, 116, 125. I really wish this is the Griffey that they would have released. It would have been sick. Vlad Guerrero was 107, 125, 90, 121 is the collection reward. Chipper Jones, 123, 125, 93, 119. This Troy Tulowitzki I had to have been using just because I like him. There's no way he's better than Cal. But what's interesting about Cal is Cal's stats in this game are not as good as the one we got in MLB The Show 22. And Mike Piazza, 114, 125, 93, 125. And I just kind of wanted to show you some of the attributes on some of the cards, like Mike Trout's immortal card, 107, 102, 110, 90 with 94 speed. Dennis Eckersley immortal, 111, 118, 108, 120 clutch, which doesn't matter. Billy Wagner is 122, 125. There was no outlier back then either. Tom Seaver at 99, 104 just seems like so mid in a way. Mortal Sandberg, 101, 125, 92, 117. That's some crazy stats versus left. You also had Stan Musial, which I didn't have, 125 both sides, 90, 106, 125 vision. I never got a Mortal Jackie Robinson, 110, 115, 121. I think the Jackie Robinson we have now is a lot better than a Mortal Clayton Kershaw, 107, 101, 102, 110, 103. And here are the Cal Ripken Jr. stats, 105, 114, 79, 90, 114 vision. The one that we just got is actually a lot better than this one. I think the best one that he ever had was his Home Run Derby card, but this one is really not that good compared to the new one. Here's a card that I wish that we had back, and that's Ted Williams, 125, 125, 125, 101. Gossage, 121, 125, 99 velo, but there's no outlier yet. Immortal George Brett. So the George Brett that we got is actually a lot better now, too. 125, 104, that's like close to 125 now, if it's not with like parallel and stuff like that. A lot more power. So the George Brett we got, a lot better fielding also. So the George Brett that we have nowadays is a lot better. It's kind of interesting to look back and see that like a lot of the cards are better nowadays than they were back then. All right, so we're on MLB The Show 19 now. You can see the 11th inning programs started to be kind of like what we see more with the modern day programs, kind of have like three bosses. And I do like it how it is now. I think it's been pretty cool having like these shorter programs. I like how it's set up. Now, a lot of people are going to say that they miss Team Affinity. I personally don't think it's too bad like this, to be honest with you. All right, so we got ranked seasons, Battle Royale, Moments make their debut. Conquest, we start to see more Conquest in this game. So this is a big leap between MLB The Show 18 and MLB The Show 19. And this is kind of what brought me to this video today, extreme moments. If you've never seen them before, they're very, very intense. The ones that gave me a bunch of trouble, and put down in the comments which ones gave you a bunch of trouble. But man, this one drove me crazy because Kenley Jansen would take so long in between pitches. It was so difficult to hit off of him. And then this one took me freaking forever. There was always like one stat that I didn't get. Maybe I got 9 hits, or maybe I got 4 home runs, or maybe I scored 7 runs, or maybe I gave up 3 runs. This one was really, really difficult. It was on Legend versus Super Stack team from the computer. Very, very difficult. These should be pretty difficult coming back, but you can see you get like Rich Gossage, Andrew Miller, Jim Edmonds. They're going to put some good cards behind it. And MLB Show 22, one of the cards is going to have a parallel mission that you have to get to parallel 5, so that should be pretty interesting. And before I go so far off topic with my team, I mean, some of these are pretty cool. I really like signature teams. That was cool. We don't see a lot of those now. We had Tops Now, some stuff like that. We had a bunch of moments back then, a bunch of them. So this is also the first year we kind of see everybody in their position. I had the Ghostbusters uniforms back then. I think I had the Chiefs uniforms as well. I'm not sure if this is the first year that we had custom uniforms with the vault. It might have been, but I switched to the Ghostbusters uniforms later on because that's like one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie. I just like those movies. But I had the Chiefs jerseys. I've kind of brought them back in MLB The Show 22. I just kind of like the all red or the all white. And I've thought about going, instead of the all red, like going to the all black, which is kind of like the red Chiefs logo. But at the very end of the year, I switched it to this because someone uploaded this to the vault, and I was like, oh, cool, cool, cool. But so here's the team. We had Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, Cody Bellinger, Chipper Jones, Hans Wagner, Rogers Hornsby, Jimmy Fox, Mike Piazza, and Chris Sale. Now, these stats pop up a lot faster, so we're going to be able to take a look at them. Look at Babe Ruth, still 125, everything 111. That's why I was a little bit disappointed in the Takashi Babe Ruth. They did say in the most recent stream that all cards are going to kind of get a retro finest, which really, that allows them to pretty much give B stats like we saw with Cal Ripken earlier in the video to anybody. And they're probably going to be over the top. I just would have liked to see one that was like this earlier. I just kind of feel like the game peaks in July and August. And I feel like Show's finest in the postseason could carry us in September and October. And then I would love to see, like in November, more than anything, golden tickets where they put out packs. Whoever gets a golden ticket gets to make like a random like 84 gold and under live series card into an extreme like unbelievable player based on the meta. I'd love to see that. And then in December and January, I'd love to see out of position cards where like a card like this Babe Ruth can play shortstop or catcher or something like that. I think that'd be awesome. It's just kind of the end of the year. Like, let's just like mix it up completely and have some fun. But look at the Babe Ruth. Willie Mays was the collection reward. I feel like I can still hit really well with this Willie Mays. 114, 117, 106, 118. He was solid. Solid. Good power from both sides. Great fielding, great speed. Some people don't really like his swing. I never really had too much of a problem with it. Always liked it. One of the most famous Show's finest cards of all time is this Cody Bellinger, just because of like, he could play at first base and have unbelievable defense there, but then he had really good hitting. That 98 contact versus left looks so low now. Eventually, you can get that in a parallel 5 in today's game. Chipper Jones, 116, 105, 93. I believe this card was very difficult to get, but I can't remember if that was this year's game or if it was in MLB The Show 20. I cannot remember. It doesn't have location, I don't think, either, of where you get the card. Somebody let me know in the comment section because I cannot remember. 76 fielding, 68 speed, secondary of left only. Now, Hannes Wagner was the big surprise. We do need to talk about that in this game. So this card came out of nowhere. 123, 125, 88, 89. Really good defense. For some reason, he only has like 91 fielding and 87 reaction, but this felt like one of the best defensive shortstops ever. I don't know if it was the speed. I don't know what it was, but he was so good on defense. Always kind of liked his swing. We've seen one released recently that has like a little bit less power, but I always really liked this card. Here's Rogers Hornsby. Did not have the best defense. 81 speed. We don't have this card in the game anymore. This was the year, his first year, He did not have a lot of power in this one either, like 94, 99, but I remember he just didn't have like the power that he had in later years. One of my favorite cards every single year is Jimmy Fox, 123, 125, love his swing. That 123, 125, great power, good fielding, but no secondary of catcher, which was huge. It was a big deal. And then Mike Piazza ended up behind the dish, 116, 125, 109, 115. The bench, we had Yelich, 125, 125, 80 or 98, 112. I'm not really sure why I wasn't starting him over Bellinger, to be honest with you. Ted Williams, 125, 123, 123, 100. Mike Trout 6 series, 120, 109, 117, 104. Wow, he did not make my like outfield. Alex Bregman, 125, 125, perfect pinch hitter versus left. And Frank Thomas as well, 125, 125. Some of the times at the end of the year, it seems like I just kind of like put in who I want. All right, here's our rotation. Chris Sale, always really like pitching with Chris Sale. Not very meta with the pitches either. Clayton Kershaw, this was an infamous Clayton Kershaw because he was so dang good early in the year from the XP reward path. With Garrett Cole, used to like using his Garrett Cole a lot. He threw like really, really hard, good per nines. Adam Wainwright with the sinker, very low per nines for an M game. And then look how cheesy I was. Andrew Miller, 120, 125. Kenley Jansen, 121, 125. Josh Hader shows finest, 125 on both sides. Sergio Romo kind of has like deceptive delivery, sinker, and a slider. Eric Gagne, I always like pitching with him. And this year, I do have Billy Wagner and Rich Kosich, very similar to their immortal cards that we saw in MLB The Show 18. So this was our first Legends and Flashbacks collection ever. So you can see that we have multiple ones nowadays. But this was a big deal because it literally came out of nowhere. I want to say in like July, August, something like that. They're like, hey, all those cards that you've been quick selling, you need them. All those extra cards that you get throughout the year, you need to hold on to them because that was a big deal. So you have these collections that we have now. These got dropped out of nowhere. And you can see I don't have like all of them because at that point in time, you just kind of sell the card. So that changed drastically. You had to go back and get them. I remember this took me a little while back then because I just sold all the cards. I feel like a lot of people did. Pudge Rodriguez was the other collection reward. Hornsby and Willie Mays. Here's how I look at the community market. This is the first year of like Signature Series. 99 Jackie, Reggie Jackson, a 99 Ronald Acuna, 99 Pete Alonso, Christy Mathewson, Walter Johnson, Dale Murphy 99, Eddie Murray, Paul Molitor, Josh Hader, Al Kaline 99, much better card this year. Ryan Sandberg, kind of nerfed there. 99 Griffey with 110, 100, 114, 109. Ted Williams, Mike Trout, Justin Verlander, Billy Wagner, Anthony Rendon, Craig Kimbrell, Nolan Arenado, Bregman that we looked at, Barry Larkin, 99, Albert Pujols, 99, Beastie. So this is what the Cal looked like back then, 100, 107, 88, 90, 122 Vision. So it's even better this year as well than that card. And just a couple more as we go through. So yeah, that was MLB The Show 19. The other thing we had in this game was the XP reward path. I'll talk about that. So you just kind of like got XP, and instead of like getting XP for the particular program, it would just kind of go on and on and on. But the problem was you would release cards, that were really, really good. Nothing too bad in there. This Clayton Kershaw was really overpowered. So I think that's one of the reasons they stopped doing this is because you'd have like a card that was way over the top of the other cards. I remember doing a lot of videos on like who you should take out of the XP reward path and stuff like that back then. This is also the first game we ever had esports. This game at the very start was very bad as far as like the consistency of the power. A lot of the times MLB The Show makes like these drastic 180s. Like power was too overpowered in MLB The Show 18. And then at the start of this game, they really just like made it so a player like Tony Gwynn with low power would hit as many home runs as like, I don't know, someone with tons of power. It was very strange. And then by the end of the game, they kind of got it to a good point where I felt like it was patched up pretty well and it played pretty well towards the end of it. But at the beginning, it was not good. And then later on, with some adjustments, it got a lot better. All right, so this was MLB The Show 20. This was a special game to me just because I got to play in a content creators league through MLB The Show. It was a lot of fun. But here was the team. This is the first year of the ability to prestige. I have a feeling this might be the one where Chipper Jones was more difficult to get because you can see I don't have him red diamond. So this is kind of the first year of the prestige parallel. Prestige was different than parallel, and parallel is a lot better than prestige was. And one of the reasons that is because when you had to do the prestige, you only got +3 and you had to lock in the card. I'm trying to see like where that was. Let's see if that's, yeah, it's right here. So it was different because you had to actually lock in the card, but once you did, you got +3 to everything, but you could not sell the card anymore. So the parallel is obviously overarching for every card in the game. I'd like to see parallel actually go to like +10. I think that'd be awesome moving forward. But this was kind of the start of that. One of the big things too was they had the XP reward path, and then once, kind of like seemingly out of nowhere, once you finish it, they had like another one, which is awesome. With the prestige, they had the prestige XP reward path, which was a big deal back then. So taking a look at the team, we had Mike Trout in left field. He was one of the Legends of Flashbacks rewards. Gosh, I hope this card comes back like every single time that they're about to do one of these. The 119, 125, 100, 115. I would like to see more contact versus left in today's game, but that was sick. Mickey Mantle. This is one of the reasons I feel like Mickey Mantle was such an L. I guess just because like once you use a card like this, it's like, man, you just want this card back, right? The prestige version, the 113, 125, 122, 105. He's the collection reward. He was a beast. Just an absolute beast. Juan Soto, 125, 125, 122, 125, Babe Ruthian. And I think Juan Soto in MLB The Show 22, his home run derby card, might be the best hitting card in the game right now. I think you could say George Brett, but also like he is so good. Here's Chipper, 116, 116, 105, 93. Not exactly amazing for Chipper. Not exactly amazing as we'll see in the future. One of my favorite cards of all time, this is Fernando Tatis Jr., 93, 114. Also not very good contact versus left. Like the 122, 125 would be sick, but there'd be a lot, like we would want a lot more contact versus left in today's game. Great defense, great speed. Still one of my favorite cards. If they re-release it, would need more contact. Corey Seager, unbelievable. 118, 120, 113, 122. Those are more along the lines for like the modern day MLB The Show 22, 23 attributes you want to see in a card hitting wise. In the 85 fielding, the defense and the speed matter less and less. Obviously, you want more speed, and the defense doesn't matter as much. But like that amazing contact, amazing power just makes for amazing cards in today's game. So something like this, like it was amazing back then, but this is more like what your modern card looks like. Babe Ruth, 125, 121, 120, 112. Not getting that 125 treatment anymore. And there's a really cool missions on how you had to unlock them. At least I liked them a lot. And Jimmy Fox gets his catcher position back. 125, 125, 119, 116. I remember we kind of like try to communicate to them, hey, give him that catcher back because he is always really the best catcher every single year when he gets that secondary. He's got unbelievable swing, unbelievable contact. He has the meta hitting, and he has a good enough defense. All right, so we're going to take a look at Frank Thomas, 112, 125, 107, 125. Just an absolute beast. I love using this card every year. They brought back the show's finest Cody Bellinger, 116, 118. We're using that off the bench all day. George Brett. Had the opportunity to present this card much, much better nowadays. That collection reward, George Brett's so much better. Willie Mays on the bench. I think we released this card very late. It was like a World Series reward, I want to say. They have locations, so it was released very late in the year. You can also see he cost 1 million subs, and he would have cost 1 million subs back then. It's one of the things, one of the reasons that they did the programs that they do now for the World Series and stuff like that is so that they don't have cards that are like 1 million subs anymore. That's one of the things that they do now. It's because of that. It's just so that everyone can get the card, because it's not that people don't have the million stubs. It's that there's just not enough cards to go around. That's the problem. Ted Williams, 125, 123, 123, 100. I think this is last year that we had Ted Williams. Again, I'd like to see him come back to the game. He is a cool card. We had Oral Hershiser, who is just always one of my favorite pitchers. I miss his old windup. I don't like the new one that they have now. His old one was awesome. I wish they'd go back to it. Greg Maddux. I think this is the first year of Greg Maddux. You see Chris Sale, almost always have Chris Sale. I love using Chris Sale for some reason. We had Jacob deGrom, and we have Clayton Kershaw. Why did I have him in there? Sometimes at the end of the game, it's like there's no better place for him than being in there because the other cards have the hitting stats. Garrett Crochet. I think I'm going to keep mine a catcher this year or something. I don't know. Garrett Crochet, a late edition, one of the best Topps Now cards of all time. We had Kenley Jansen, 124, 125. First year of Mariano Rivera. Man, I would be so good with this card nowadays with like the cutter meta that I like to use. Aroldis Chapman, 125, 125, and then Billy Wagner and Rich Gossage as well. Was this the first year of Outlier? It was. So we had Outlier as well. I don't know if we had it in the previous game in MLB The Show 19. We might have, but there's also might have been the first year in MLB The Show 20. As far as the moments, I thought this one was cool. I liked the all-timers. I wish they had this like all the time. I wish this was like a constant thing that updated throughout the year. I think this would be awesome. You just basically played against all the teams that were, their signature series team, basically. All the best cards they got this year, you just played against them. It'd be cool if this updated like every single month. You could just do that. I think that would be awesome to go for rewards. One of the best ones that they ever did. Really, really liked it. It looks like they had Return of Moments Extreme, too. Return of Extreme as well in here. This is one other thing that they had is they used to have Evolution. They've just kind of gone away from that, where you just kind of like evolve a card throughout the year, but they went away from that. And why not? Let's go ahead and open up a couple packs. It's kind of what the old pack animation used to look like. A Ducks on the Pond pack with Banks, Chapman, Joe Adell, McCutchen. Ooh, this is what he used to look like. That Silver Slugger. Greinke, Wade Boggs, Hernandez, Daniel Murphy, Fernando Rodney, Salvador Perez, Gold Glove, and Dave Kingman. We hit the base round. I'm going to take Salvador Perez. Home Run Derby set 2. So, looking at Cal Ripken Jr., to me, this is the best one that he's ever had. 97, 105, 113, 120 would be pretty dang insane because he would have a lot more power. But I don't know. It's very, very difficult. It's very difficult. I would say this one is probably better than the one that we just got. I know he has a lot less defense, a lot less speed. Oh boy, it's really difficult. I really wish his new one just had 100 power. Like, it was just a base of 100 power. That would be then he would be like, there's no doubt about it. But I think there's somewhat of a debate on which one you'd rather have. But yeah, let's see which one we get out of here. We hit the base on this one. Let's take take Tino Martinez. And then Beach Ball pack, Luis Robert, Future Stars, Nolan Ryan, Rogers Hornsby, and this one was different. She's got a lot more power, very meta hitting stats for Hornsby in this one. Kenny Lofton, Eric Gagne, and Jorge Posada. We got the base round. In the community market as well, you can see at this point there is a lot more 99s. Lots more 99s this year. It just kind of goes on and on. Chipper Jones, probably seemingly impossible to get. Not as many orders up anymore. But you can see how that became a problem. Big problem. Like, you can't get a lot of these cards. So that's why they introduced that program like that. It's also the first year of like Larry Walker, which was a big deal. It's a really, really good card as well. All right, let's jump over to MLB The Show 21. All right, so this is MLB The Show 21. Kind of looks a lot more like, you think about MLB The Show 22. So say like MLB The Show 19 and 20 kind of look similar. MLB The Show 21 and MLB The Show 22 look pretty similar. Maybe we'll see something different in MLB The Show 23, or maybe they will keep it like this. Regardless, I don't think that this looks too bad now with the menu system. I didn't like it as much last year, but I'm more used to it this year. So looking at the team, we have Mike Trout at 124, 112, 125, 121. Whoa, 97 speed at parallel 2. This card was crazy good. Whoa. Does he have the quirks? I don't think so. Mickey Mantle, 123, 125, 125, 114. Whoa. Crazy Mickey Mantle as well. Crazy Ken Griffey Jr., 121, 110, 125, 123. Oh my God. 99 fielding, 87 speed. These cards are turned up, man. Chipper Jones is a collection reward, 108, 113, 125 on both sides versus left pretty much all year with that 125, which is nice. And secondary of shortstop as well. 82, 74. Fernando Tatis Jr., 113, 119, 125, 125, 98 speed, 98 fielding, 99 arm. Like 98 fielding, and in this year's game, they're just like, nah, you're just not going to get any fielding anymore. Mookie Betts, 125, 125, 105, 118. Crazy fielding. They just really maxed out at the end. Babe back to 125 across the board. Secondary of first base. Jimmy Fox behind the dish, 125, 125. Gosh, this team is stacked. Larry Walker, 125, 101, 82. So this was actually kind of a bummer because he did not get very much power versus left. I remember that being the case, but still an amazing pinch hitter. 125 for Bryce. Frank Thomas, 122, 125. 125. That's crazy. Perez with a 125, 125. And we had Honus Wagner, 116, 125. I wonder why I didn't use Perez's, because I think Perez had a finest. Yeah, 105, 120, 125. I just went 125, 125 for the pinch hitting ability, but this will most likely be the best Salvador Perez card ever if you're a Royals fan like me. I mean, this card was insane. And we got Honus Wagner on the bench. Another really good card was this Francisco Lindor. I thought was cool. This like a Francisco Lindor with crazy pop would be like a dream card. Like a 110, 110, 110, 110 Francisco Lindor would be insane to have at some point. 99 Bobby. He never gets the full, hitting stats. So I hope when they release his Future Stars card this year, he gets like the same thing I just said listed off for Lindor. It'd be insane. Gosh, this team is ridiculous though offensively. Shohei Ohtani, big collection reward in this year's game for the All-Star game. Last year was kind of the season of Shohei Ohtani. It just kind of was. Like he was everywhere, especially the All-Star game at this point in time. Pretty damn good hitting stats too. Justin Verlander, I think I pitched really well with this card. Looks like I was 11-2 online with him with a .7 whip, 84 strikeouts and 4 walks. Nice. Jacob deGrom. Gosh, I should have talked about Edward Cabrera as well. But Jacob deGrom was like considered a little bit overpowered just because of the time that he was released. He was a really, really good card. I really did not have a problem with him. It's really difficult to hit though. Clayton Kershaw, collection reward, and Corbin Burns, kind of the emergence of Corbin Burns in last year's game. Then we had Aroldis Chapman. We had Andrew Miller. Aaron Loop was unbelievable. He's in there. Mariano Rivera. Kenley Jansen. Emmanuel Clase. This is where I really started to like the cutter, was with him at that point in time. And Alex Reyes as well. Programs. We still had Team Affinity, kind of do the stuff for each team. I probably stopped when I got the packs. I really don't miss Team Affinity that much. I kind of just like the quicker refreshes on the program with more bosses. I think it's better. And then they can kind of put Team Affinity into that. A Happy Holidays pack, huh? Let's see what packs they got in there. So a Shohei Ohtani. Let's open one of these. Looks like we got some packs. The home run derby pack doesn't look too good. Man, the pack animation looks a lot better now. It just looks a lot better game to game. These are our home run derby cards. Crazy ones, so not as crazy as the finest. That Perez is not bad either. So we got the top tier. We got the top tier. I don't know who needs that card, but we got top tier. Pete Alonso. Take the selection on the bat. Field of Dreams had Piazza, Lefty Grove, Mike Schmidt as your top tier. We had Lou Brock, Jim Palmer, Paul Konorko, Dylan Betances, and Chris Bryant was lower tier also. Pretty much the one that we saw in rewards was this Chris Bryant. And we got the low tier, and I will take Chris Bryant right now. Why not? The show's finest set 1. Here are all the finest cards in here. So this Fred Mill Reyes turned back up in MLB The Show 22. The Zara Loop would be sick to come back too. Willie Dom is just supposed to be like a weird time capsules with a video. I saw he's had a lot of home runs this year. A lot of home runs. Dylan Cease had one last year. What a crazy season he's had this year. All right, let's open it up. And we're going to take Aaron Loop. Sweet. All right, so those are my team start of the year. I hope this video was kind of interesting. And thank you so much for watching. And yeah, thanks. Peace.